Hey, welcome to another episode of Funhaus. I'm joined by a bunch of people. How you guys doing?
I am person number one.
I am expert panelist number two. We discussed the titles.
I, Tanya.
Nice.
Well done. And I am your host or whatever, and we're talking about a bunch of fun movie factoids. This episode is brought to you by Blue Apron. You get $30 off and some free shipping. But more on that later. First, let's talk about Disney is probably going to buy a good majority of Fox, at least their TV and film division. Not going to own Fox, but anyway, I read the news.
They're going to buy a lot of assets and properties and stuff.
Fox isn't selling off the propaganda machine.
Here is a news story. Disney and 21st Century Fox are closing in on a deal and come in as soon as next week, according to sources familiar with the matter. Right. CNBC has been reporting that Disney has held talks with Rupert Murdoch-controlled media company to acquire its studio and television production assets, leaving Fox with its news and sports assets. So that means they can still air the Super Bowl or whatever they do, all that fun stuff. Fox is also talking with CNBC parent company Comcast, but the talks with Disney have progressed more significantly. We heard a rumor about this, and it's a weird sort of industry shakeup. I know we usually try to talk about like singular movies or something like that, like try to focus on a film. This is more about our talks we had last week about one company owning everything, and it's starting to get a little more real.
Yeah.
A little scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just puts the impetus on you creators out there to make something new.
Yeah.
When's the next Stan Lee going to come around?
Yeah. Well, how can you compete, though?
Right.
I mean, we're going to get into it, but you got avatars hitting in every month, basically, when Disney's putting a billion-dollar AAA movie in every single month. How do you get out anymore?
I mean, I was looking at it. I think they have about 70 movies coming out next year. This is Disney. Between their Marvel and their animated and everything else, all the other studios they own, there's about 70 movies that Disney is putting out next year. And so they're saying that this deal, the enterprise value of the Fox assets in the Disney deal is seen to be above $60 billion. That's according to sources, whoever they are. Current Fox shareholders would get one share of the Fox company that remains after the movie and television assets are sold, plus shares of Disney in a fixed exchange ratio. It's all business talk, but when this news came out, shares of 21st Century Fox rose 3.2%, while shares of Disney fell 2.1%, and shares of Comcast fell 1.2%. That's how the market goes.
That makes sense.
I mean, it's a $60 billion. How much did Amazon buy Whole Foods for?
I don't remember.
$7 billion, $8 billion?
So I have a question, actually. It may seem like a simple question.
It's okay. I'm a simple person.
Simple Elise.
But, so does that mean that Disney will now own, like, all Fox sitcoms?
Yeah,
I
mean, if they're saying, they're basically saying their entertainment division, so that would be The Simpsons.
Yeah, they get The Simpsons.
That would be Avatar.
Married with Children.
Yeah, Married with Children.
They're part of the Marvel universe.
That's so bizarre because to think of like
they get a new hope again.
How The Simpsons, you think of classic Simpsons and how much Fox as the parent company was such a narrative to so many jokes, and also just Disney, like Universal Studios having Simpsons on their lot.
So yeah, that's some of the weird shakeup. They could get Avatar, which is already in their park, but then they'll get Simpsons, which is in a competing park. Well, it gets really weird.
That already happened with Islands of Adventure, as you may remember, when they acquired Marvel, and there's still the Hulk ride and the Spider-Man ride at Universal Studios, whereas Orlando, Florida also has Disney World that's sitting right there. I'm not really worried about their parks division. They're doing just fine.
It's more about the the synchronicity of the company once they start to piecemeal acquire properties.
Sure, I mean, they're still making money off of that stuff because they're licensing it out, but it's more about the entertainment side of it, and that's kind of more the interesting thing because we talked a little bit about this with the Infinity War trailer and how they were saying they renamed Infinity War Part 2 because we're saying, perhaps there was a deal struck between the creation process that they said, we may acquire an asset that's going to change the way this thing shakes out, and this might be it.
Yeah.
Do you think, though, that they haven't shot enough of Infinity War to put in that much of it? Like,
something that would be title changing.
Here's the only thing. Marvel understands what works, and what DC was doing was not working, which is shoehorning things in just because you got them. So do we think that I could totally see Marvel now going, Great. Well, we know what our Phase 6 is.
Toss in Wolverine.
You know, we know what our Phase 6 is. So, like, we're going to finish this out, but now we don't have to worry about rebooting Captain America, or we don't even have to worry about Captain Marvel being in the 90s, because now we can do X-Men as well. So, like, I still feel like this is, like, laying stuff for much further down the line. I don't know that they could do an X-Men right away.
Well, so a good example is Civil War. The
Spider-Man?
The acquiring of Spider-Man was still going on while the movie was being made. And from what I understand, Spider-Man being in the movie was basically a pickup. That's why he goes and like fights in a different room, and he's mostly CGI.
I think you'll see the acquisition of a new term. There's a lot of jargon that's used on film sets and in the industry, like, extension cord is a stinger, that sort of thing, and you're going to see the term spacey going around a lot, and that's when you just kind of have to reshoot and do something for a movie really last minute, add it in there just at the end. So we're going to see a lot of spaceying happening in the Infinity War saga.
So,
you heard it here first.
Disney's buying Kevin Spacey?
No, nobody's buying Kevin Spacey anymore, ass.
He's a bundled deal.
They're CGIing him out of movies now, right?
Why can this human being not walk
He's a living mustache.
straight?
I don't know.
That's a robot.
We're looking at
constantly
I've wondered that about
bobbing from the side.
We're looking at Sarah
just holding
Kenny's
it.
channel. She went and got some footage of the backlot and put it up on YouTube for us all to watch. So
I've been on the Fox backlot before.
Brag about it.
It's an easy answer, but good directing and good writing can make anything work. And the hard thing is in the execution. But I feel like people contrasted Batman v Superman and Civil War appropriately, in that Batman v Superman was very shoehorned in setting up Justice League. Civil War was actually pretty elegant and natural in introducing Spider-Man. And both of them were fairly sectioned off from the rest of the film. So you had the scene with Robert Downey Jr. and Tom. What's his name?
Tom Hiddleston.
I don't know why I'm saying their Holland. There we go. I don't know why I'm saying their actor names and other character names.
Don't worry, it doesn't matter.
They were talking in a bedroom, and then they briefly introduced him to the major fight, and then said, "Okay, you go over there and play with Falcon."
Yeah.
And that was kind of it. And then the one line between him and Captain America, but those lines were so good, and it was paced well enough that even though the first thing of the bedroom talk was a little disjointed, he slipped into the action really well. He was a likable character.
I'm also going to lean into the fact that Spider-Man, despite being from different universes, had 2 origin stories within the last 11 years or whatever by the time they introduced him in Civil War.
Fantastic Four.
By the way, they were also some of the most successful Marvel movies up to that point.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think that they were too concerned. I like if there's ever a character we can get away with, we can do that. And I also think Black Panther was kind of being screen tested in Civil War for something. Like, I knew they wanted to do something bigger, but I don't know.
Well, same directors though, right? Russo's are on Infinity War.
Yeah.
So I don't think on a microscopic level, I don't think we have anything to worry about. They're throwing the Marvel canon off or being like a last minute groan-worthy inclusion or anything like that.
I guess this is I'm thinking much like bigger and wider, because I think, yes, everyone would have loved for the Marvel universe and all, like DC seems to have a leg up where they're like, oh, we own everything. We can do whatever we want. They're all in the same universe, and they're just royally fucking it up left and right, whereas Marvel has it scattered because of the deal they made to basically stay afloat. They sold off all their assets, and then Disney acquired them, and then they realized, oh, there's all these deals that were already in existence, and now they were like basically grandfathered in, so now they're kind of stuck dealing with it, and they're trying to work deals out here and there to do it. And so, part of me was always like, man, it would have been great if Marvel just had it all. But now that Disney's becoming this bigger and bigger beast, it's becoming a little scary. Where it's like, should they own it all?
I get that. I understand that. But just all these assets being divided between other corporate entities doesn't really, like... It's not like it gives the little guy a chance. Who gives a shit?
Sure.
Like, if Fox, this multi-billion-dollar thing, had something, and now they're going to sell it to another multi-billion-dollar thing. It's not like the rights used to belong to the person who actually invented the characters or anything.
I guess I'd rather the Titans fight instead of all work together, because once Disney gets, like, if they own everything, because this would give them, I think I read it gives them a majority stake in Hulu. Because they have 30 and Fox has 30. Yeah. If they buy it, they get 60%. Then they own controlling rights to a giant video streaming platform that they can promote their own content on. And now that net neutrality is out the shitter, that's going to be a factor.
That kind of makes more sense why they're pulling their stuff off of Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. So it's...
I mean, they already said they're announcing their own digital streaming platform. But
what concerns
they're just
me
buying
is
one.
what we talked about in another previous Funhaus is the political sway that Disney has just because of their money and the jobs they can bring to a place. Once you start consolidating all that into one power instead of multiple smaller powers that are kind of fighting for dominance, it can bulldoze out of the way so many things. So when Disney gets Fox and all of Fox's properties and all of Fox's platforms under themselves too, that's all again moving in the same direction. You no longer have Logan out there trying to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
You have Logan fitting into the Marvel Universe, and disruption goes down because that's not good for business. And then all that money gets funneled behind the scenes into politics to make sure that there's more land for Disney World. That you either work for Disney or you work for Walmart.
Kind
and
of
that's
a
it.
double-edged sword, right? Like, you wouldn't get a Deadpool movie if it was at Disney, probably, right?
Exactly.
They probably wouldn't have taken a gamble on it. But also, Fox barely took a gamble on it.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, sure, maybe. I don't know. They're like, they basically did it because they leaked a trailer and said, fine, here's $30 million, go make an indie movie. And then made $1 billion and went, oh, interesting. But now they're going to, I guess they would, Disney would get Deadpool back too. So why not?
I'm curious what this means for projects that are already in the works. Obviously, Deadpool 2 is going to come out, but like Channing Tatum has been trying to make a Gambit movie for almost as long as Ryan Reynolds has been trying to make a Deadpool movie. So I wonder what this means for those things that are already kind of in line.
He gets cast in a bit role in Infinity War 2. Kind of like
or they just say no, we want to go in a different direction.
Well, Deadpool was bit in X-Men Origins. Now I'm thinking about it. Speaking of screen tests,
sure.
Whatever. I don't know where I'm going with that.
That wasn't a screen test.
No, absolutely wasn't.
That was the first thing of Ryan Reynolds going and knocking, like, who owns this property? You do? All right, I want to do this thing. And they're like, okay, well, we're already doing this project. Maybe we can cram it in here somewhere. And then he's like, okay. And he's like, I have no control here. What are you doing? Why are you putting blades on him? Why are you sewing his mouth shut?
Daniel Henney. God rest. He almost got there.
I don't know.
Who? What?
We'll get him back someday.
Daniel Henney?
Yeah.
What
Most
are you talking
attractive man. Go Google image search.
Nah. I'm good. Well, I get the thing too is we're doing the thing right now that I'm afraid everyone's doing. There's a bigger symptom going on, which is like the consolidation of all media into
it's a monopoly.
It's going to become a monopoly. They're going to own everything, and that becomes a little scary. But we're going to just sit here and think about how cool is it going to be that Deadpool shows up in Infinity War 3.
Well,
it's like,
and we got skin in the game. We have a live streaming website of our own. So if Disney's throwing their weight behind Hulu, competing with us directly, that sucks.
Do you see us as competitors against Disney? I never thought about it.
I mean, it's more like, what do people choose to spend their eyeball time on the internet?
Right.
So not direct competition, sure, but however we advertise, however we try to acquire new viewers, Disney can just stomp on that wherever it is. They can just throw money at it.
They go, hey, you look good. Yum.
Yeah. Or at some point the bubble bursts, or you see some type of backlash where it's not cool to be sort of wooed in by this giant conglomerate that's like, we're eating up everything. It's just kind of like, well, people just might start to distance themselves or think like, I'm looking, what's the alternative? What's the alternative here? Because that does happen, a lot of historically with media where people are like, I'm just kind of burnt out on this and I'm looking for that like underdog or grassroots project that feels more relatable, that feels less like it's covered in veneer. Like an I, Tonya.
Well, you're looking at my list.
I am.
There's like an assumption of like creative
Death Race
assets.
4.
It's like, well, you can always just come up with new superheroes.
Yeah.
But it's not always that easy. And like you said, the big concern is there's no room for anyone to see your movie if there's only 12 months a year, 52 weeks, and there's 125 characters now that Disney owns that they can give a movie each themselves.
And they force theaters into contracts to show their films.
Yeah.
Like there's not a screen for your movie anymore.
Yeah.
That can happen. And we're pretty close to it.
We saw it with The Last Jedi where they're saying like, we're demanding that our film stays in for this amount of time.
And if you break it, like we get a bigger cut of your returns and everything.
It's getting a little crazy. Yeah, and then it's like, if they own the streaming platform, they own the theaters, and they own the content, then it's like they own everything we're watching. You can choose not to watch.
I think
stay at home.
The company Disney acquiring the studio assets doesn't really bother me as much as the television production assets. The studio assets, I'm like, Fox seemed like it was mismanaging a lot of those properties. So I don't really mind that. It's the television production that kind of feels a little little worrisome, especially if that leaves Fox more time to focus on its news, which
Well, that's the
Fox
thing,
shouldn't
yeah.
be focusing on that news.
It will give Fox a shitload of money and let them wash their hands of anything that isn't their news empire. So Fox News will get an inflush of cash. And that, whatever your political leaning is, personally, I think is kind of a pile of shit. So I don't want to see it get bigger, but it will, because
Yeah.
it gets eyeballs. So
I mean,
whatever.
they saw that a lot of news outlets were left leaning, and they said, "What if we make one for the right?" And they're like, "All right, corner it, smart." I mean, you got Sean Hannity going crazy, but that's a whole other story.
Well, it's more like I don't know the history of it, but from my perception, it's basically Rush Limbaugh was blowing up because he was an asshole, and then Rupert Murdoch was like, "Wait, we could like turn that into an entire machine," and he did.
Bless you.
Everyone else was a little too ethical for it, but
Anyway, that's your news story. We're gonna find out more next week. Just wanted to always make our listeners and viewers aware of the ever-changing landscape that is Hollywood and how you soon will bow to the mouse. So let's talk about some movies coming out this weekend. I, Tanya, Shape of Water and Disaster Artist. What are you... Wait, Disaster Artist already came out?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's out now.
I got
think-
tickets for Shape of Water with Q&A.
Nice.
Guillermo.
Oh, so
How do you say it? Guillermo?
Guillermo.
Guillermo.
if I had
There's
one...
an L in there, though. Guillermo.
So if I had one choice this week
Just roll through
between
it.
Fish Sex, the Tanya Harding story, or the story about the making of The Room, what would you suggest someone go see?
That's
Oh,
tough.
I haven't seen 2 out of the 3.
I know.
Yeah, I've heard the best things about Shape of Water.
Ooh.
I've read some reviews that are glowing.
It has graphic nudity. I
All
can't
of-
emphasize this enough. No, like, you watch the trailer, it says warning graphic nudity. You watch the trailer for 50 Shades of Grey, it just says strong sexual content. What is graphic nudity? I have to know what it is.
The reviews imply they go all the way.
But that's not graphic nudity.
All
Graphic
the
nudity
way.
is like a telescopic camera.
All of these movies
Oh, I see. Just a
are
real shot.
getting
What is it?
fantastic reviews. James and I saw Disaster Artist last week, and it was so funny. It's
Yeah, it's
maybe
great.
one of the funniest movies this year.
I think it's opening worldwide,
Wide-
or
wide
I think it
release.
was just for
Speaking
us.
of opening wide, graphic nudity. What is
But
it?
I think Shape of Water is going to be a classic. It's going to establish itself
Academy
as a
Award.
classic.
Oscar-nominated film.
I think they'll all get some touch of Oscar. Tanya, I saw really cute pictures of Tanya Harding joining Margot Robbie at the premiere red carpet, and she was like super excited to be there.
Yeah.
And then she like took a bat to Margot Robbie's knee.
Yeah. You try
Try to steal my movie.
You try to steal my skate.
I feel, Shape of Water I think is going to be like one of those like fantastical, beautiful movies Guillermo del Toro does. Like probably like it's going to be akin to like Pan's Labyrinth.
Like a
or
dark
something.
fairy tale.
Film.
Yeah, it's art.
It's a picture.
It's the most art you can get, but I think he
Good date movie, I bet.
probably maybe if we want to see fish sex.
I think it's going to be a
Graphic.
tragic ending. If
Nudity.
I want to see that fish spread its ovipositor wide open.
it's a return to Guillermo's form.
The funny thing is, the other two movies, I, Tonya and Disaster Artist, they don't require that you have some sort of foreknowledge of the events that happened before it, but they are based on real events. So, like, Disaster Artist is based on the making of the film The Room, which I guess you haven't seen The Room, which you guys did not, right?
No, we've never actually.
I'd seen
you see
clips.
it's on YouTube. People have
Mm,
disseminated it and everything,
Right.
but you didn't really need to. I don't
okay.
think there was a single. There was a couple times where people were laughing just because they show a shot of the cast, and people were just laughing because like, there's that guy who was that guy in the movie played by a different guy. It wasn't a joke. None of the jokes surround the actual movie.
Okay.
So
Freaking.
it stands on its
I'm
own.
surprised you guys haven't seen The Room.
And
I
then
guess it's
the-
like too built up at this point.
Yeah.
Ugh. And then I guess similar to like the OJ murders,
Yeah.
I, Tonya is like it is a piece of cultural history that happened in the early '90s.
That
Where
was
it's just
lampooned a lot at the time.
it was a lot of things. It was something I remember growing up and seeing and not fully understanding the story, much like the OJ case.
Seems
And
pretty simple.
Simple, but it just it kept ballooning. And
You know,
there
it's
was,
funny
like,
that you bring that up because I thought I lived through OJ and I thought I understood it. I totally didn't.
Oh yeah.
So
Same with
watching
this.
watching the TV show was really fascinating.
Well, this is it. A big thing about it is you know the event, but what led to that? No, nothing ever focuses on what led to that.
Yeah.
Right.
What kind of
And-
person goes, oh, I really want to win a medal, so I'm going to pay someone to smash their knees or whatever.
And also, even now, they still give conflicting stories. Like Tanya Harding and her husband or boyfriend, whatever. Their stories still conflict about what actually happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah, at the time when I was a kid, I just thought of it was, oh, this one figure skater hit this other figure skater in the back of the knee.
Because she was jealous.
Because she was jealous of her. But you realize, like, oh, she didn't even do it. Like, yeah, I think Margot Robbie is like the bee's knees. So I'm super excited to watch her.
It looks like a fun movie, but it's one of those things where it's like what was that movie? Pain and Gain.
Mm-hmm.
Where halfway through there's a part where they're cooking someone's like body parts, and then it just has a hard cut and says, once reminding you this is based on true events.
Yeah, this actually happened.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, real life is sometimes crazier than fiction.
There's like a genre of film that's like spit you in the face, kick you in the groin, and I feel like that's what this movie kind of is.
They're obviously probably going to be embellishing certain things, but it's still one of those fun things that you watch and go, well, it's based on some truth. And I don't know. I'm torn basically between I, Tonya and Shape of Water. But maybe I'll go see both. I'll see both.
I need to see Shape of Water. I've been waiting for so long.
Do not neglect The Disaster Artist. This is a fantastic film. Worth seeing.
I got 3 movies. And then finally, I got some trailers for everyone to watch.
Death Race 4.
Okay, so
Death Race 4.
we can watch one trailer.
Not Death Race 4.
We got Death Race 4, Batman
actually not a
Ninja,
good
Batman Gotham by Gaslight, where I believe he fights
Oh, they're
Ripper.
finally
Jack
doing
the
that?
Ripper, yeah.
Huh.
A Quiet Place or Accident Man.
Batman
Quiet Place.
Ninja.
Quiet Place.
Batman Ninja is. I watched them all. Batman Ninja is the best trailer out of all
Okay,
of those.
who wins trailer of the week?
Batman Ninja is my
I would
vote.
say B Ninja, but
Lawrence?
I saw the GIF of B Ninja, whatever. I mean, I'm
hates
just
it.
kind of bored of this fucking animation style.
What?
Animation? This is a brand new animation style.
Huh?
You've never seen Batman like this ever. Your statement doesn't make any sense.
No, I mean-
this has never been done.
I don't mean the art, I mean the animation style. Like the drop frame, 3D model, like cel-shaded shit. It's just lazy.
Well, I'll throw links in the description of these were basically my 5 favorite trailers of the week. Once again, Death Race 4, Batman Ninja, Batman Gotham by Gaslight, Quiet Place, and Accident Man. I'll link them in the description below so you can watch them all. But I believe, hey, congratulations, Batman Ninja! You're our trailer of the
you
week.
did it.
I'm not clapping. I bet it's gonna be real boring.
It looks
Well, yeah,
it looks
they always
boring.
have
Mhm.
pretty boring stuff in it.
So you see the, you can see the best parts of it just by watching the trailer.
Batman
The art
pray,
style.
Batman kill.
I'm into it. I'm hoping it's fully was it? I guess not dubbed, but it's completely in Japanese.
I'm just glad that we've got to a point where we've told literally every Batman story, so now we just make up shit so we can make a movie about it.
I mean, that's what Gotham by Gaslight is too.
Yeah, I know.
Where they're like, it's I mean, there's a whole series of these like Red Sun and what you like Gorilla.
I missed the gorilla the first time.
Oh,
Gorilla Grog?
Yeah, it's Gorilla Grog. You'd be a big Flash fan.
Oh, I bet.
So they have
Look at his
Batman,
armor!
Ninja
Oh,
Batman,
boy.
Space Batman,
Oh, man.
Underwater Batman,
Wow.
Mega
I haven't
Batman.
seen a giant fighting samurai robot since I watched Samurai Pizza Cats. It wasn't
Pacific
too long
Rim,
ago,
dog.
actually. Oh, you know what we should do?
What's up?
I noticed that Gremlins 1 has been on Netflix for a while, and every time I see it, I go, "What? Where's New Batch? Give me New Batch!" Everyone knows Gremlins 1. Gremlins 2 deserves some love.
Right.
It's on Amazon Prime now. We should watch Gremlins 2.
And
then,
one, just for fun.
And then
Well-
I'm going to do that.
Good news for you guys. I actually have, as I'm doing every week, a Christmas
Oh, yeah,
film
Christmas
recommendation. But guess what? It lines up with the Bud Watch.
It's Batman Ninja.
Oh.
Check out Bud Watch. Check it
Okay.
out so you guys don't have to hear about it. Well,
Oh.
Lawrence does actually because he watched it with me.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
nice.
Snow Buddies. We're going
Have-
to talk about it shortly after this. I'm going to do a quick ad
Have
read.
you watched Muppet Christmas Carol yet?
I want to remind you guys that this episode of Funhaus is brought to you by Blue Apron. This is the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country that makes incredible and fresh home cooking accessible to everyone. You guys don't need to sit here for this, but you're welcome to.
I will.
Okay, I have some meals I want to read. You can read them with me. Anyway, so Blue Apron delivers fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and step-by-step recipes right to your door that can be cooked in under 45 minutes. They have a rotating menu with high-quality recipes, change every week, so there will always be something delicious to try. We all use it. You're still on it, Lawrence? You're still cooking. Of
course, yeah.
You've
Years now.
been you're a chef in the kitchen, and then Elise, you let
I'm in the kitchen,
you let James do all the work.
snacking, eating, loving the meals.
Sometimes.
She's your shoe chef.
I'm a shoe chef, yes.
So anyway, Blue Apron, they make it easy to find new ways to cook. I agree. I found new interesting ways to cook other meals, and it's sort of like, as I say before, it's like a cooking class that you can take home, and being better at stuff's always good. So cooking can be really fun, and when the headache of shopping and portioning is removed, dinner doesn't always have to mean date night and all that fun stuff, but it just becomes more fun. It's also really fun to cook with other people. I've been cooking by myself.
I knew
For
where
the
this
past
was
week.
going. I'm like, he's lonely. He's real lonely.
If you guys ever want to hang out and watch me cook, I was up till 1 a.m. last night cooking, making lunch.
You didn't play my trailer, so no.
Hopefully this week you'll be enjoying some meals with a loved one, like...
You got the baked tilapia and creamy kale with fregola sarda pasta.
Ah, bene.
And what else, James?
You got the sheet pan roasted pork with fall vegetables and creamy maple mustard.
But that sounds good, but I really want something else like...
Oh, maybe you could go for some chili butter steaks with lemon parmesan broccoli and potatoes.
Well, I'm almost there. Bring us home, Elise.
Creamy tomato pasta with mushrooms and collard greens, y'all.
You're crazy if none of those sound good. Blue Apron prioritizes variety, and there's tons of new recipes each week, so you'll always get something new and fun. Blue Apron is affordable, flexible, pick what you want, when you want it, easy to make, and guaranteed fresh. So, Blue Apron is treating Filmhouse viewers to their first 3 meals a $30 value with your first order if you visit blueapron.com/filmhouse. So check out this week's menu and get your $30 off with free shipping at blueapron.com/filmhouse. Blue Apron, a better way to cook. And we're back with... We're, like I said, killing 2 birds, 1 stone. We're doing the Bud watch, check-in, watch Bud. Also,
Burr. It's cold
Is it me?
in
Is it
here.
cold in here?
This is also
there's
my
an also?
holiday pick. You should be watching this week, Snow Buddies.
I don't know if this is a holiday movie. It just takes place in Alaska.
No, it is during Christmas. I saw a tree.
Oh yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. It is. They miss,
Yeah.
they try to get home for Christmas.
No spoilies every time, dude.
Well,
I didn't spoil
sorry.
it.
Quick clarifier. I feel like I haven't been contributing to the Air Bud Cinematic Universe Watchathon, so I actually watched it this time.
Good for you.
And you were there too.
I know.
You made me drinks. And that's how I got through it.
Yeah, that's how we always get through
So what's going on with the Snow Buddies, guys?
May I?
You may.
I'll start it off. So our friends from last week, the buddies, Airbud's children who can sort of talk.
They can talk.
Yeah, well, only to each other.
That's
This time, Butterball, that little fat piece of shit, he's always getting him into trouble.
He's not that fat.
And he's really not. And so he went into an ice cream truck, and they all followed him into this ice cream truck to try and save him. Mm-hmm. And then they all get locked in a big metal box full of ice cream.
Yeah.
And guess where this box of ice cream is being delivered?
I'm gonna guess Alaska.
You got it.
Wow.
Airdropped
Yeah,
to
airdropped.
Alaska. An ice cream crate. It tumbles down a hill full of rock hard giant tubs of ice cream. They go rolling around. The ice cream tubs are flying all over the place. Luckily, none of them got smashed by the ice cream tubs.
Or frozen.
Or frozen, because they were in a freezer for about 3 days.
There was about 4, maybe 5 shots in this whole thing where I thought those dogs are dead. Oh, Lawrence, you're here.
Yeah, I'm
Hop
here.
in.
Okay.
Get in this.
Yeah,
Do you have your
Lawrence
ears?
watched it with us too.
Yeah, why didn't you guys dress up like your favorite buddy?
Here, Lawrence.
So wait,
Oh, do you have your rose?
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
buddy?
Yeah.
Your chubby buddy?
I'm B-Dog.
Oh.
He likes
I-
the bling.
Wait, can I be Buddha Buddy?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
You got it.
Ian.
Give me an ohm.
He does the Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is just Air Buddies, but whatever. That's
We
fine.
haven't seen that one. Oh, come on.
Well, this
We
is
have.
the prequel, right?
Oh.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is the prequel to
We did this
Snow
last
Buddy.
week.
Yeah.
So wait, is
remember
Air
this
Buddies football?
Air Buddies is a little everything.
We're talking about Snow Buddies.
Snow Buddies.
Which
All the
is,
trailers suck.
is it hockey? Or
Oh, they would lead you to believe that it's about hockey, but no, it's about the hero of the story.
It's
is
about
a
dog
kid
sledding.
who wants to make his dogs compete in dog sledding competitions.
All he
which
wants
are
to
horrible.
do.
I think his dad used to dog sled
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
like that.
His dad killed like 5 dogs in a lake.
They allude to some tragedy in which
Yeah.
his dad was robbed of his rightful championship, and though they never say it or convey it in any meaningful way, I guess the implication is the kid's trying to reclaim his dad's pride by winning.
Yeah, sure.
I have no idea.
by entering a team full of puppies against like full-grown wolves competing in bobsledding. What is it called?
Dog sledding.
I did her
Dog sledding.
Yeah. Well, it's not the idea.
It's basically the sequel to Cool Runnings.
One thing I did notice while
Iron
watching
Will.
this movie was there are 5 buddies and then their friend
Shasta.
Shasta, the little timber wolf. Well, he's like a husky, yeah. But anytime there's anything done in this movie, it is done 5 times
Yes.
at the least. So if anything happens in this movie, every single one of the buddies reacts.
Yeah.
And then if they're like crossing something, they all cross.
If they go through a hole, they all
They do
five
it 5
go
times.
through
Well, I'm
I'm
five
kind of mad at
shots
you
through
for
the hole.
pointing that out.
Well,
Actually, Adam.
I know it bothered you,
Yeah.
but because I noticed that the movie probably could have been 35 minutes long.
Yeah.
But there's so much that's stretched out, and there's so many reused shots where they just do the same thing over and over.
Did you guys see where Mudbud saw his reflection in the ice and he got really sad because he didn't have any mud on him and he saw how clean he was and he didn't recognize
He
himself?
doesn't even know who he is anymore.
That's Mudbud for you.
That's some deep characterization.
I want to slap you, but I can't.
So guest
Try
stars
it.
in this one, we've got Jim Belushi.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've got Chris Christopherson.
Are they
killed
Whoopi
it.
Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg
I think
as a
it's-
sassy cat.
Whoopi Goldberg and Chris Christopherson had about 4 lines each.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they do have celebrity guests, but they don't stick around for very long.
let's not.
They probably get him like just walking down the street.
Yeah.
They bring up a mic to him.
Yeah, they don't even know
Yeah, I was
what's
thinking,
going
can we just call a spade here? They're not really the dogs, or I'm sorry, the guest actors, or whatever. They're not guests. They're not showing up on someone's talk show. They
on.
took.
To promote it?
No, I'm
probably
just
not.
saying they took the $200,000.
Hey, that is
Whoa,
on set.
no,
Yeah.
that was not that much.
Whoa!
Is he in Yellow
Oh.
Snow?
Not
Maybe.
a scene that made it into the
Ew.
movie.
Well, no, these are the bloopers.
Oh, it's
Oh, I
he ate
see.
yellow snow.
They're
So
fake
if
bloopers.
the original Air Bud movies had a theme, it would be sort of like growing up and coming in your own and being confident.
Yeah.
The Air Buddies movies, it seems like it's all about parental neglect,
Mostly.
Yeah.
being like a shitty dog owner, because no one knows
Well,
where anyone's kid is, and no one
also,
knows where anyone's dog is.
The dogs,
That's right.
Air Bud and what's his
Mom.
and the
Molly.
mom,
Molly Shannon.
Molly played Molly Shannon. They also neglect their kids.
yeah, everyone does.
because they just let the dogs go play outside wherever they want, and then they get trapped in an ice cream truck, and they're like, "Oh, how do we fix it?"
I gotta be honest, Air Buddies was really goofy. This one was a little too serious for my taste. I'm excited for Space Buddies when they go to space.
Yeah.
I think
Oh.
it'll be a bit more lighthearted.
I'm looking forward
Okay.
to that. I mean, this one shows dogs actually getting whipped, almost dying. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
what was the part 2? Remember when they're sliding across the ice?
Yeah, so for some reason they have to cross a very precipitously thin amount of ice over water to reach the finish line of the Great Race.
Yeah.
And what was his name? Francois?
Yeah, Francois, the
The
murderous
villainous
Frenchman.
Yeah, the
Quebecois
abusive
Frenchman.
Frenchman.
The ice breaks. His team falls into freezing water, and he's like, "Well, I can't win," and he walks away
Peace out.
Yeah.
to prove how terrible he is.
There's just dogs drowning.
Yeah,
They're like, they look like they're in trouble.
Yeah, they looked very scared.
Yeah. Well, no, I was saying there's the other part too where the puppies are just sliding across the ice.
yeah.
They're like, there was some poor grip.
Stagehand
Yeah.
just
Just chucking puppies.
bowling
One after
ball.
another.
Just had him up, then got the form down.
Yeah.
So, but next week we're in for a treat because I'm sure once again, what's his name? Chubby Bubby? What's his the chubby puppy?
Is he-
Butterball.
He's always the one that.
Butterball's
Yeah.
gonna-
You put a
Butterball-
weird name in my head, and I couldn't
Sorry,
think of the right
Butterball
one.
wants to eat astronaut ice cream or something, and so he goes onto a rocket ship.
He thinks the moon is made of cheese. And he wants to eat
that's
the moon.
also true. And they shoot to the moon where they meet Spudnik.
Wait, are you guessing or
No,
telling?
no,
me?
I've
okay.
looked a little.
We have also, I believe I've alluded to this before, but we have found that Airbud Entertainment is now a thing, and we got a taste.
The universe
of,
goes into some weird directions.
Well, we got a taste of Pup Star,
yeah.
which is I'm really
that's a
excited for
long
that
way
one.
off.
It's a
No,
science fiction, basically.
basically.
Well, so speaking of that, no, I mean that is leaps ahead. But in this movie, I feel like there were still significant twists of canon. The sheriff has assumed deceased because
Yes.
he has now been immortalized in
his
a painting.
pictures. Well, the actor died.
Oh,
He
but
died-
replaced by a new gentleman who I feel like swung for the fences.
That's
Did a great
true.
job.
Yeah, he
Only
had some
2
chops.
scenes really, but aced them both. Highlighted
It took
the
him
film.
about 45 seconds to get up a ladder.
Yeah, which I mean, miraculous bit of body comedy there. He was all tied up in that
What
rope
is
ladder. He
this?
was upside down screaming at some kids. Oh no.
What the
Oh,
hell?
it's like Crips.
Yeah, but
But
it's
I
it's
don't know.
Diggs.
It's for
Is
dogs.
this from Pupstar?
this is Rosebud Buddy's Roadbud
Oh, this is a
special.
Rosebud special.
look, any of these kids are gonna end up with a drug addiction problem later in their lives as they try
It's
to.
definitely Rosebud.
Yeah, but the dogs aren't going to be any better off. Anyway, thank you guys
Of
for
course.
doing the watch party. That was fun. I'm sure there's a special place in hell for us now.
I did fall asleep a couple times.
You did.
Your energy levels were shockingly low.
No.
I almost fell asleep. I think I fell asleep about 8 times yesterday during the day.
This one was dark.
It was a little dark,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I do recommend it as a good holiday film.
Yep.
And I do recommend it as an Air Buddies film.
It is during Christmas for no discernible reason.
other than snow, but
yeah,
anyway.
snow and there are lights.
Nice.
So thank
How did
you,
it bounce off his head and then go into the goal?
thank you once again,
It's Rosebud
everyone,
for you.
for being here and
Yeah.
enduring the pain that
Thank
is
you.
the Air Buds
Thanks for
franchise.
having us.
Yeah.
Anytime. Thank you, listeners and watchers. Please stop touching me.
Touch him more. He likes it.
I love it. Yeah.
Hey. Stay cool, everybody.
like Cool Runnings.
We'll see you next week. You're right. Like with episode 2, we're like, "Hi, my name's Django Fett."
Yeah.
And he stares into the camera
And
and
most people are like, "Oh, he's probably related to like that one character I saw from Empire." Like,
yeah, that guy who falls in a hole.
Well, more importantly, though, those franchises weren't able to, with the exception of maybe Deathly Hallows Part 2,